Hi, and thank you for joining me for today's process video. And today I'm documenting 2 photos of us at Tavern in the Green in New York when we went this Christmas. So I've printed the photos 3x4, so I put 2 onto a 4x6 photo mat and printed them using the Becky Higgins Project Life app. And then I'm just matting them onto white cardstock, and then I'm going to mat them onto black cardstock afterwards, just to give a nice definitive line. I wanted to create a layout with strips down the centre of the page. It's one of my favourite ways of creating a layout. So you can see I just wanted to position the photos like this, add some mixed media, and then start adding some strips. So I've pulled out my Mowed Lawn Distress Oxide and my little brayer. We sell these mini brayers at Hey Little Magpie, and I'm just placing down a little bit of watered down ink down the centre of the page. So I just want it to be a tiny little bit at the top and bottom, and then moving outwards slightly in the middle, so to create almost like an oval shape. So I put that to one side to dry, and I'm now matting the photos on black cardstock. This is just a scrap from my stash, and cutting that out, and I just want a thin black border just to make those photos pop. So we went to Tavern on the Green this year after we walked around the park. We had a big walk around Central Park one of our days that we were there, and then James said he was going to treat us to drinks because we'd all been helping him out for the markets on the lead up to Christmas. So it was a really special trip, and it was just as fun as it was last year. Really enjoy that pub, and funnily enough we managed to get the same seats that we were on last year at the bar. So that was great fun. So I'm just going to add some mats behind these pages. I've pulled out this is the reason that I pulled out this collection. It's Jen Hadfield Groovy Darlin. And if you look at the photo of Amelia, she's got a lovely sort of rust orangey red jumper on. It's a cashmere jumper that Mum had given her, and she loves it. And when I saw it, I thought of the colours in this collection, because it's not a true red in this collection. It is like that rusty orangey red. So I thought this would work perfectly. So I matted the photo of Amelia and myself on that orangey, brown and pink paper, and then one of the boys I will mat onto another paper shortly, but in the meantime I wanted to use some of my dies today. So I've pulled out the large scallop border and cut that from that lovely tan paper with the pink hearts on it. And then I found these 2 branding strips just sitting in amongst all the papers, so decided to use those down the centre of the page. So there's this lovely tan coloured one, and then there's a very, very deep navy one that I'm going to use as well. So just distressing the edges of those, in part because I love the look of a distressed edge. If you've watched my videos for a while, you'll know that full well. But also because I hadn't trimmed them terribly well, and there's a little bit of the pattern of the actual paper showing on that navy blue one. So rather than getting my scissors and trimming that off, I thought I'd just distress the edges and that will hide it. So I'm just going to trim these down ever so slightly. I want them offset against each other, and one higher and the other one lower. So they are the same length, but just trimming little bits off. At first I thought I was going to add the scallop to the left, and I definitely wanted it to sit on the navy paper, but in fact I moved them and add the scallop to the right on top of the navy paper. So I just switched those 2 strips out. So just checking again that I'm happy with the positioning of the photos. It's funny because I distressed the edge of the picture of the boys, which is with this lovely blue and white heart paper as a mat, but I completely forget to do the one with myself and Amelia. I'm not quite sure why I forgot to do that. So I'm just coming in now with the notebook die from Hey Little Magpie, and I've cut it out of 2 papers so far, that lovely denim, and then the one with pale blue with the yellow flowers. And then I come back in and cut a third in that green and navy stripe, because that's the reverse of that lovely green floral that I used for the Viewmaster reel. So I can't decide which way to position all of these, so I have a lot of toing and froing here, deciding what to do. Think about adding and I think I want to add that Viewmaster reel down to the bottom right there, and this stack of notebook pages here, but I'm still not quite sure. So I decide I want to add a bit more mixed media to the background. So I pull out my black soot ink, and first of all I'm going to come in with the directions stamp and use one of the long strips of arrows to go right the way down the centre of the page. So obviously this stamp isn't long enough to go right the way down, but I just overlap. The first time I just sort of butt it up against the first stamping, and then the second time I overlap and just ink the bottom of the stamp just to take it right off the page. I know that a lot of this is going to be covered by strips and photos and things, so I'm not too worried if it's not precise. And then just bringing the other bits back in, and then I decide that I want to use one of these, I've forgotten what they're called. I've got it here. Distressed grids stamp. So I use the circular one just to mimic that circle on the Viewmaster reel, and I'm using it with tea dye ink because again it's that lovely tan, so it's not too in your face on the page. And I just stamped it in a couple of places. I don't want it to be too much of a feature on the page, but it's just bringing in a little bit more interest. So coming back with the black soot, and I'm going to stamp some of this grid stamp which is on the distress grids about the page. And you know what, this doesn't show at all. I'm just looking at the finished layout and none of it shows, it's all covered up. It also creates a little bit of a problem. Some of the felt came off that black soot pad when I was stamping, and it's landed on the picture of James and Ross. It doesn't ruin the picture, but when I flip the picture over later on, it does go onto my card and creates a bit of a problem, but you'll see that and how I fix that shortly. So I'm just going to glue these strips down the centre because I know this is definitely where I want them to go, and then I can start working out how I'm going to embellish the page. So adding those two there, just faffing about to get them in place. And look, I've already done it differently than I had it originally, so the navy is now higher than the tan piece, but it really doesn't matter. I just wanted them offset against one another. So getting that photo of myself and Amelia stuck down, and then I do want one of the boys to be tucked underneath that scallop because there's nothing to the left of that photo that needs to be seen. It's just a bit of the bar and other people in the background. So just positioning that Viewmaster reel up there. Still can't decide really what I want to do with it, so I'm just having a little play while I get the photos down. And that's where I see that the black ink has smeared all over the right hand side of the page. So I'm looking to see if I can get this Viewmaster reel to cover it up, but it doesn't come out far enough, and I didn't really want to add more things to bring it out further onto the page. So I'm just trimming down these notebook pieces because I know I only want that much showing, thinking that possibly I could use those bits to try and hide it, but that's not going to work. So in the end, I decided to add a strip of this stripy paper to the right and then another thinner one to the left, and that works really well. The balance of the page is there at the end once I've finished messing around. It does mean that I move that Viewmaster reel back over to the left. I'm just curling up the edges of this paper. I use some water to help me do that because it's got that gorgeous navy on the back, so I want that to peep through as well so that I don't have to do a double layer. Quite often I'll do a double layer of papers with torn edges when I do this just to provide extra interest, but with that dark navy almost all the way down, that works really well. So there's the bigger strip there, and you can see it's making it very heavy on the right hand side, so I will bring a narrower strip in on the left hand side, and I mimic what I've got on the right. So I start with the pale blue strip, and then it's the green, and then the olive and the pink, you'll see. So put it that way up, and that works really nicely. So doing exactly the same again, just adding some water to that torn edge, and then I'll curl it up, and then when that dries, it dries like a rock, it dries really solid, and it keeps the curl really nicely. So just carefully rolling all of that strip all the way up, and then I shall add that to the page, and you'll see that straight away creates a lot more balance. And I needed a heavier piece on the right hand side, partially to cover that ink and partially to create the balance that I'm looking for. So by moving that Viewmaster reel over to the left, that's helped as well. So you'll see how I continue doing that now. So just moving that Viewmaster reel out a little bit, and then I'm going to glue that and also those notebook pieces down. And I've got the bits that I've cut off those, and I shall use those shortly as well, or some of them anyway. But just tucking those in, and I really love the look that that notebook edge gives to the page. So now coming into the sticker book, and I use plenty of these stickers actually, they're really useful for embellishing. So this one says living my best life, And then I spot the rainbows, and instead of using them as rainbows, I think they'll be brilliant as scallops along that central line that I've created. So I'm going to cut them all at different heights because I want the scallops to be different heights. I thought about keeping these little rainbow pieces, but it's ridiculous. I do end up binning them. I think I keep those two that I put on the sheet, but the rest just go in the bin. They're all stuck to my scissors, look, while I carry on cutting. So I've added 3 to the top there, and then I've got enough space at the bottom to add 2. I think about just adding 1, but it's not balanced enough with 1, so I do come in with 2. And one of them will just overlap onto that notebook paper. But it makes it all more cohesive doing that, so I was very happy with the outcome. So just moving that one up a little bit, and then the other one can go next to it. And like I say, I've cut them all at different heights just to create interest down that central column. So here I'm just getting rid of all those bits. Another sticker that says way to go. I will move that down to the bottom of the photo shortly. And then this one says beautiful, and it's got some little pink hearts on another one that I put below that. And then this one says fortune. So I just add that above the one saying living my best life. This one says smile, so I'm just going to overlap that onto the Viewmaster reel. And that looks really nice. Rather than it just being a plain Viewmaster reel, it's nice having a little bit of something on there. So I have this tab here. I haven't added the date yet. I must come back and do it. I couldn't remember if it was the 29th. I think it was the 29th that we went, but I just wanted to double check before adding that. So I'll just use my roller date stamp straight onto that sticker to finish that off. And then just found this little circular heart, so I add that to the left of that way to go just to finish that off. So here are those bottom pieces of those notebook papers. So I'm adding the navy blue one here just as another layer, and then this floral piece to the left hand side here. And I'm actually going to grab my crocodile in a second once I've got it in position, because why would you do it before you put it down, and create like a faux tag by punching a small hole in the top. So just messing around to get that in place. I pull up those stickers and then get those stuck back down. I think I move them over to the left, to the right slightly more, and they do look better like that. So just adding some glue to those two, and then I will come in with the crocodile and punch that hole. I just felt that the layout needed a little bit more height up at the top there. So there's the hole, and then I'm going to bring in some of the wax twine from Hey Little Magpie. This is the orange one. And I'll just loop that through that tag hole, and then I'm going to staple it on and then let it trail down the left-hand side. So while I'm doing all of this, I'm still trying to think of where I'm going to add my journaling and title. It's a really important story for me because of James treating us for our drinks, which weren't cheap. He was very generous. So I definitely want to get that added to the page, and I'm looking at doing it in the bottom right hand corner, which is where I do add the journaling, but as a consequence adding the title in the journaling makes it quite heavy at the bottom right, so I do have to bring something up to the top left just to even it out again. So I'm using these letter stickers just from my stash, just to spell out Tavern on the Green. They're a gorgeous olive, and it works perfectly with the colours in this collection. And then just a few lines just to add the journaling. So this is where I pull out the ephemera pieces and paper e-pack just to find something to add to that top left. Think about this circular piece, but it's definitely not right. But I do like the 2 little flowers that I pull out. So I'm just going to get rid of that circular piece and switch it out for a little washi sticker that says beautiful. So I'll just quickly go through. There it is. So that's going to go at the top there with those flowers as embellishments. And you can see that creates that lovely diagonal line from top left to bottom right, and really balances out that title that I've put at the bottom of the page. So just getting that washi sticker stuck down, and then the florals, and then I'm going to bring in a tiny bit of bling because I've got the Stardust stickers from Jen Hadfield's previous collection, which work perfectly with this. The colours are really nice, so just adding a couple of the sparkly bits, a little star and a little 4-pointed star at the top, and then a green heart at the bottom next to the title. I think that's all I add in terms of sparkle on here. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this shows you how it's never a mistake. You can always cover it up or change your direction when creating a layout. Thank you so much for joining me. I shall see you soon. Bye.